Ecuador's capital city high in the Andes, Quito is dramatically situated, squeezed between mountain peaks, their greenery obscured by the evening fog. Modern apartment buildings and concrete houses creep halfway up the hillsides, and busy shopping streets lined with shops and congested with traffic turn into peaceful neighborhoods on Sundays. The Old City, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is packed with colonial monuments and architectural treasures. As you walk through colonial Quito, you'll probably pass by the Grand Plaza several times. Its benches are ideal for soaking up the Andean morning sun and watching the hustle and bustle around you. On Mondays, the changing of the guard takes place in the plaza at 11 a.m. The white building on the northwest side of the plaza with the national flag flying above it is the Government Palace, the seat of the Ecuadorian presidency. On the southwest side is Quito's cathedral, and on the northeast side, the Archbishop Palace, which now is a row of small, colonnaded shops and restaurants. Crowned by green and gold domes, the Society of Jesus Church is Quito's most ornate church and stands out among the Baroque splendor of the old town. Construction on this wonderfully gilded Jesuit church began in 1605 but was not completed until 160 years later. The main altarpiece alone took 20 years. Guided tours highlight the church's unique features, including its Moorish elements, perfect symmetry, symbolic elements, and syncretism. The Metropolitan Cultural Center is rich in history. It is supposedly the site of one of the palaces of the Inca ruler Atahualpa, a Jesuit college from 1597 to 1767, an army barracks after the expulsion of the Jesuits in the late 18th century, and, in 1809, the site where royalist forces held a group of revolutionaries before murdering them a year later. On a hill in the northeastern part of the old town stands this massive Gothic church, the largest in Quito, built over several decades beginning in 1892. Instead of the typical gargoyles, turtles and iguanas protrude from the side of the church. The highlight is the Basilica's towers, which you can climb if you're brave enough, as the ascent requires crossing a rickety wooden plank inside the main roof and climbing steep stairs to the top. Construction of this convent, the largest colonial structure in the city, began just a few weeks after the Spanish establishment of Quito in 1534, but was not finished for another 70 years. Although much of the church has been rebuilt due to earthquake damage, a good part of it is original. The main altar is a spectacular example of Baroque carving, while the ceiling shows Moorish influences. This top-notch museum showcases daily life in Quito through the centuries, with exhibits including dioramas, models of indigenous houses and colonial kitchens. The 1563 building, formerly a hospital, is itself a work of art. The museum is located just beyond the 18th century Queen's Arch, built to shelter parishioners. Topped by a 41 meters high aluminum mosaic statue of the Virgin of Quito with a crown of stars, angelic wings and a chained dragon, the hill south of the old town is called El Panecillo and is a very important site in Quito. From the summit there are wonderful views of the sprawling city and surrounding volcanoes. Climb the steps to the base of the Virgin statue for an even higher perspective. The best time to see the volcanoes, particularly in the rainy season, is early in the morning before the clouds roll in. North of Mariscal Sucre is the sprawling La Carolina Park. The beautifully landscaped park fills up on weekends with families coming to play soccer, ride pedal boats, and exercise along the bike paths. The most popular attraction at La Carolina Park is this peaceful botanical garden with native habitats covering Paramo, high-altitude Andean grasslands, cloud forest, wetlands and other areas, plus an orchidarium, ethnobotanical garden and an Amazonian greenhouse accessed by a bridge. There is also a children's play and discovery area, a Japanese garden and a collection of more than 100 bonsai trees. In the former home of legendary painter Oswaldo Guayasamin, this wonderful museum houses the most comprehensive collection of the artist's work. Guayasamin was also an avid collector, and the museum displays his outstanding collection of pre-Columbian ceramic, bone, and metal pieces. The pieces are arranged by theme, balls, fertility figurines, funerary masks, and more. The geometric designs and muted color schemes can be seen in the influence on Guayasamin's work. The museum also houses Guayasamin's collection of religious art, which includes works by highly skilled indigenous artists of the Quiteña school. There is even a collection of bloody crucifixes. For spectacular views of Quito's mountain landscape, hop aboard this aerial tram, one of the highest aerial elevators in the world, which takes passengers on a 1.5-mile ride up the slopes of Pichincha volcano to the top of Cruz Loma. Once you're at the top at 4,100 meters, you can hike to the summit of Rucu Pichincha at 4,680 meters, a 5-hour round-trip hike. Ask about the safety situation before attempting the climb, and be sure to bring warm clothing. Don't attempt the hike to Rucu Pichincha until you acclimatized in Quito for a couple of days. The museum is located in the middle of the world, northwest of the capital city Quito, in the province of Pichincha. The Intiñan Museum has an interactive tour, where you will learn about everything from the history of the ancestral peoples of Ecuador to the magnificent effects that the sun produces on our solar cylinder. Travel back in time through centuries-old huts, discover and understand the physical phenomena of the Earth with various educational examples, observe the path of the sun, Intiñan, and of course enjoy a privileged natural environment. The main objective of the museum is to rescue a new image of the existence of a geographic center of the ancestral worldview and an ethno-ecological habitat in the middle or center of the world. This is the most visited place in Ecuador, just 30 minutes from Quito. It is the monument that celebrates the country's location right in the middle of two hemispheres. North of Quito, in the parish of San Antonio de Pichincha, is the most visited attraction in the country, the monument and complex of the middle of the world dedicated to Ecuador. Here, the favorite activity of visitors is to take a photo on the yellow line painted on the cement that divides the planet in two. The power of the middle of the world is a universal reality. The position of the Earth in front of the Sun and being at latitude 0, beyond being a geographical line, is part of science, spirituality, and knowledge. Since the year 1900, Quito's boundaries have expanded to welcome a contemporary city with several commercial and residential areas. Quito sits on the haciendas of that time, immense places with forests that gave rise to a city full of contrasts, surrounded by mountains and at latitude 0. But historic Quito is not a sterile set of museums, it's beautifully restored architectural blocks, with 17th century facades, picturesque plazas and magnificent churches full of art, pulsate with daily life, warm and relaxed. The traditional culture of the Ecuadorian highlands, overflowing market stalls, shamanic healers and fourth-generation hat makers, mixes with a vibrant and sophisticated culinary and nightlife scene.